What's up, everyone? So let's talk about some more tax issue. So the government issue that you're gonna have to report your earnings through Cash App, PayPal, or any other money transition place. And how are they gonna do that? Well, they're gonna get a reporting from PayPal, Cash App, or any other money places like Venmo, Zelle. Gonna send them a report, a 1099-K, and it's going to report your transition for your payment. Now, is it $600 for 2024 tax purpose, 2024, 2025? No, it is not $600. They implemented this rule back in 2022 where Internal Revenue Service do the $600 rules. And it's been postponed for another year. Now, what do you need to know about this? Essentially, a third-party platform like PayPal, Venmo, Cash App to collect payments for side gig business will report payments at least $600. To ensure this is reported, which is deviation from the older rules with higher thresholds. So, third-party payment platform will require to send eligible business account holders Form 1099-K to disclose the income. So, what was the old rule? So, the old rule was they wouldn't report it unless it's above $20,000 a year or more than 200 transactions. So, they're going to dedicate your account and saying this was a business expense or this was a personal expense to try to separate it. Now, you're thinking to yourself, hey, I can just write everything as a personal and they're not going to know. No, the IRS deem these third-party companies or these payment companies to investigate if it's true. So don't think you can get away with it. So at this point in time in 2024 and filing for taxes 2025, you will need to report your earnings. Now, how much are they gonna do and before they send you one now? As of 2024, 2 years after they made this rule, they're gonna ask these third-party companies like PayPal, Venmo, Cash Apps to issue a tax form 1099-K for anyone who earns more than $5,000 of income via third-party payment apps. So if you are a freelancer or self-employed, you should be ready to pay taxes on your total earning. Even if you don't receive a 1099, it is tax fraud or tax evasion if you don't report all your earnings. You are supposed to report all your earnings that you made from a business, side hustle, or anything like that. So don't think you can hide your income from the government. Everything's electronic and they can pretty much tell. So this new rule only requires third parties to report your income earned, and IRS is not really interested on money you transfer to friends or family, or your rent, or your split dinner. So they're gonna look at it. Well, these third-party apps are supposed to look at it and say, oh, okay, this is reasonable. This looks like a rent money. This looks like you splitting the bills. And then they're going to say, hey, go to you and say, hey, is this a business or is this personal? And then you just indicate it on your PayPal or whatever application or tax information. So prior to 2024, it was $20,000. So now it is $5,000. So get ready to receive a 1099-K for reporting your income. Now, what is a 1099-K? So that everyone can understand. A 1099-K reports income received from a third-party platform from a non-permanent job, such as side hustle, freelance agreement, and contract position, where taxes are not withheld. So if taxes are not withheld, you are liable to pay the taxes. If you didn't know your employer pays some of your tax for you. And since you are self-employed now, you have to pay the full brunt. So the IRS currently requires any third-party apps like Cash App or Venmo to send a 1099-K to the IRS. And the individual, if they earn more than $20,000 in commercial payment across 200 transactions, if you're regularly making over $20,000 income as a freelancer. Now, if you're only making $100, $200, you are supposed to report it still. And you might not get a 1099-K, but for tax purposes, and you can talk to your tax attorney, talk to an accountant, whatever you want to do, any income you receive that is not for personal use, like I'm paying half the bill for this lunch, I'm paying my rent and sending it through this app, those are going to be reported as personal use, so you don't have to worry about. But you paying someone for a yard service through PayPal, they will now report that to the IRS, so they will have to claim it for tax purposes. And do not get in a caught where they say, hey, we are family and this wasn't a business decision or business transaction. Don't get caught in that. You don't want to get caught in any schemes or anything like that, and you don't want to get in trouble with the IRS. The IRS will take your money without asking you. So you will need to follow the rules and regulation. So under the new reporting requirement, the first announcement of American Rescue Plan, third-party payment apply will eventually be required to report earning over $600 to the IRS. So they eventually will get to that $600. The reason why they did it to $5,000 right now is they didn't want people to get confused and get their books in order. So if you have a side hustle, you are a freelancer, a contractor, and you're getting paid through a third-party app, you will have to report it. Do not hide it. They will eventually find out, and everything done electronically can be tracked back down. So, why was this 1099-K rule delayed? Originally, it was supposed to kick off in 2022, but the IRS planned to implement new reporting rules for third-party apps like PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App. Report over $600 to the tax agency. The IRS delayed it in 2022 to 2023 because they didn't want people to get confused, and they wanted the apps to get caught up and change their IRS tax forms to implement for everyone else. It takes a while to build these programs so that the government allow these systems to do it. Now they are required for in 2025 tax filing, or you want to say filing your tax in 2024 to over $5,000. So a lot of people will be affected by this. So why discussing between taxable and non-taxable transition on third party isn't always easy. So they don't really know what is and what's not taxable. So it's part of your job to go in there and say, hey, this is for my personal use and this is for the IRS. I made this money. And the biggest part about all this, if it applies to you, is saving money from this taxable saving money. Because if you do not save your money enough, you will be in a tax deficit and you will end up hurting for more money. So which payment apps are going to be included in the IRS? Pretty much all the popular ones, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, will be affected by this, or they end up slowly be banned to be used in the United States. Because the government wants to make sure you are paying your fair shares of taxes. Now, the one application that will not be using a 1099-K is Zelle users. This is one of the more popular ones, and that is exempt from 1099-K rule. So payment transfer servers that Zelle will not be issue 1099-K regarding regardless whether they receive business funding through the service or not. So the people that aren't going to be affected is people who use Zelle. Now, is the IRS tax money that you sent to your friends or family? No, the IRS will not tax it. The IRS will crack down on money sent to other payment method, but they will not tax money received to family as holiday or birthday gift, money received from friends or family for restaurant bills, or money received from roommates or partners for their rent or utilities. So you do not have to worry about this. Now, here's a better question. Will you owe money on tax on items sold on Facebook Market? If you sell some of your personal items for less than you pay for, and then you collect the money for it, these changes won't affect you. For example, if you buy a couch for $500 and later sell it on Facebook Market for $200, you won't owe taxes on the sale because it's a personal item you sold at a loss. You may be required to show documents of the original purchase and prove that you sold the item for a loss, but you don't have to pay for that as a taxes. Now, if you buy a couch for $500 and you sold it for $1,000 on Facebook Market, you will be affected because that is profit gain off of it. It's not a loss for item. It has the same thing as if you buy anything else and you sell it for less than you purchased it for. You will not have to pay taxes on it. So make sure you have a good record on your purchase. Most time, if you buy from Amazon, you say, hey, I bought this from Amazon. Let's say a PlayStation 5. You bought it from Amazon for $400, and then you sold it to someone for $199.99. Well, you're a loss of $200. You don't have to pay taxes on it because you lost money off the sale of good. That's how businesses work. You don't lose money, and if you lose money, you don't have to pay taxes on it because you lost money on the product. And that's something people will have to learn in the future. If you lose money of a sale of a product from original purchase price, you don't pay taxes on it. But if you original purchase price and you sold it for more than that, you will have to pay taxes on the profit gained from it. And that's just basic business. So people will now learn, hey, I will have to start divvying up how much money I really make from some of these sales. Now, how to prepare for this reporting change. Any payment apps you ask to use to confirm tax information, you will have to use an EIN or your social security number, and they will file it with the IRS. And the IRS will say, work with Venmo and all these others say, hey, do you earn more than $5,000? And will you have to pay a tax bill? So it's really good to have your tax in paperwork in order, because if it is a personal expense, make sure you dedicate it. Say, hey, this is a personal expense, and you can fix that in your books, even if it's in one of these spending apps now, or these third-party payment apps. So make sure you get your information in order and you'll be fine. Just make sure you save money to pay your taxes, because it will cost you about a quarter of earnings. So if you make $100, you will need to pay at least $25,000 in taxes. So just prepare for that. Now, it is based off your personal income, so make sure you talk to a proper tax attorney office or a accountant so you can get your taxes in order for the following year of 2024-2025. That's really all you need to know about this $600 Cash App bill.